flu model. Uh, Glution flu model. In that unit 9, we discussed about that air pollution sampling and that measurements which are including in the block 2 unit 9. And we completed the two blocks very successfully. Then coming to the block 3, it is named as the air pollution control technologies unit 10, control method sources, correction methods. Control method sources and correction methods unit 11, emission control technologies unit 12, control of specific air pollutants and the source wise. These are the three blocks which are successfully completed. Actually, not totally three blocks. Unit 11, yes, Unit 11 is left. In yesterday's class, we discussed that deeply about the control methods, sources correlation methods, as well as the emission control technologies. In today's class, we are going to discuss that Unit 12, which are including in that block 3. Okay, just a minute. Today, now I'm going to share my screen uh, for that clear explanation and all. Yes. In that last class, meaning yesterday's class, we discussed about that block 3. What is that block 3 contains? Controlling a specific air pollutant sources. Controlling specific air pollutant sources involve implementing and targeted strategies to reduce the emission from various industries, transportation, and the other sources. Here, and a overview of the key approaches, right? Um, Coming to that next one, industrial sources, emission control technologies. Emission control technologies, electrostatic precipitators means removes particulate matter from industrial exhaust gases with the diagrammatically, with that clear diagram. We deeply discussed about this topic and all in the yesterday's class. That is nothing but electrostatic precipitators, ESP, electrostatic precipitators removes a particulate matter from that industrial exhausters. Then next one is the scrubbers. We discussed that scrubbers in detail with the help of a neat label diagram used in the power plants and that factories to remove the sulfur dioxides and the other pollutants. And third one is the selective catalytic reduction. It reduces the nitrogen oxides emissions from the power plants. Mm. And fourth one, it is named as that activated carbon absorption. It removes a um, volatile organic compound and hazardous air pollutant. Hazardous air pollutants. The next one is a regulatory compliance. The industries must follow a Clean Air Act regulations or equipment national laws to limit the emissions. Preventing the system require the industries to meet that emission standards. Um, and all. And next one is the transportation sources. Next one is the transportation sources. What are the transportation sources? We all are know very well about that. What is the transportation and how that particular transportations can cause that environmental pollution, right? From last classes, we are discussing that very deeply in that one. Um, so here again, that is the most important topic. Um, so in this one, the vehicle transport sources means vehicle emission standards. So vehicle um, emissions standards, right? So that vehicle emission standards absorption Adoption of Euro 6 at Type 3 and then similar vehicular emission norms to limit the nitrogen oxide compounds and carbon compounds and that particulate emissions. A phrase out order high emission vehicles, alternative fuels and the technologies, promoting the electric vehicles, promoting that e-vehicles are that electric vehicles and that hydrogen fuel cells, and encouraging the biofuels and that a cleaner combustion technologies also. Then next one is a traffic management and the public transport, that implementing the coexistion, pricing and a low emission zones in cities, expanding public transportation and non-motorized transparent transport infrastructure, which are including in this topic, that is named as a transportation sources. Then coming to the third one, then agricultural livestock sources. Coming to the third one, that is nothing but that agricultural livestock sources means at reducing the ammonia NH3 and that methane CH4 emissions, right? The optimizing fertilizers used to minimize NH3 emissions, promoting stabilized livestock feed and a manure management. Over next one is the open burning control, banning and that restricting the crop residue dumping, promoting sustainable agricultural waste management, biocar composting. Biocar waste we have to manage and sustainable management of agriculture and that waste management. Then fourth one is that a residential and that commercial sources, the household energy sources are the household energy solutions, transporting from that biomass, a coal stores to the cleaner alternatives, LPG and electric and the solar cook stoves, improving the energy efficiency in heating systems, reducing the volatile organic compound emissions, encouraging that low volatile organic compounds, paints, and that household products, enhancing the ventilation indoor environment. So better to ventilate your houses properly, that is the one of the good thing. Next one is the waste management. In that waste management we deal about that landfill gas recovery, capturing methane from landfills and the energy production, waste inertion controls using the advanced filtration systems to reduce the toxins and the particulate emissions. The next one is the natural sources, forest fire management. So forest fire management means implementing controlled burns to reduce a large scale wildfires, enhancing fire monitoring and the response systems, dust control using the water supplies, using the water sprays and that vegetation to minimize dust from the construction sites, and unpaved roads. This is the working principle of the electrostatic precipitator. It is clearly explained in the last class. This is the diagram of emission control technologies. This is the diagram of the scrubber, selective catalytic reduction, diagrammatic representation, activated carbon absorption, and a landfill recovery. These are the topics which are covered uh, under that unit, sorry, block 3, unit unit number 11. Okay. In the test class, in today's class, we are going to discuss about that. Now we are in block 4, air pollution from the automobiles. The main topic is that air pollution from automobiles. Air pollution from automobile is that environmental concern primarily due to the emissions of harmful pollutants from vehicle exhausts. Here are some key aspects. Okay, first one is that a major pollutant from that automobile is the carbon monoxide, CO, a colorless and that a odorless gas that reduces the blood's ability to carry the oxygen. So carbon monoxide don't have any color or any smell, any odor, but it have the capacity to reduce the reduce the capacity of the blood to carry the oxygenated blood. So it is the most dangerous thing. Next one is the nitrogen oxides contribute to smog, acid rain, and that respiratory problems. Major pollutants from automobiles. And third one, a particulate matter PM, a tiny particles that can penetrate deeply into the lungs and causes that health issues. Okay. Then coming to that next one, volatile organic compounds react with the nitrogen compounds to form a ground level ozone as a smoke. As a smoke, volatile organic compounds can react with that nitrogen to form a ground level ozone. The fog formations, sulfur dioxide contribute to acid rain and the respiratory problems. Greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide, which contributes to the global warming. Then coming to that next one, sources of automobile pollution. So exhaust emissions. So from the fuel combustion, what is the exhaust emissions means? That is nothing but that a fuel combustion evaporative emissions means from fuel tanks and the fuel lines. From the fuel tanks and the fuel lines, evaporative emissions will take place if that particular pipelines and that particular tanks having any damages and any leakages or maybe any negative thing. The next one is the tire and a brake wire produce a fine particulate matter. Uh, Next one is the road dust stirred up by moving vehicles. Stirred up by that moving vehicles. These are the second source of automobile pollution. And third one is the effects of automobile pollution. Next one is that effects of automobile pollution. Health effect, respiratory diseases, cardiovascular problems, cancers, and that neurological disorders due to that automobile pollutions. Environmental damage, smog formation, acid rain, and that water pollution. Like climate change means increased carbon dioxide contributes to the global warming. Then coming to that fourth one, solutions to reduce the automobile pollutions. Switch to electric vehicles. Tailpipe emissions. Zero tailpipe emissions. That is the first one. Improve the fuel efficiency. Use of a hybrid cars and the fuel efficiency technologies. Use public transport and that carpooling reduces the number of vehicles on the road. Adopt a cleaner fuels, biofuels, hydrogen fuel cells, stricter emission standards, the government enforcing regulations like Euro 6 and the BS 14 Sorry for this inconvenience. Let's start our class. So, next one is a solution. Solutions to reduce the automobile pollution, switch to the electric vehicles, zero tailpipe emissions, improve the fuel efficiency, use of a hybrid cars and that fuel efficient technologies, use public transport and that carpooling, reduce that a number of vehicles on the road, adopt cleaner fuels, biofuels, hydrogen fuel cells, stricter emissions and the standards, the government enforcing regulations like Euro 6 and BSP for farms and regular vehicle maintenance, ensuring that a proper consumption and emissions control. Then coming to that unit 13, genesis of vehicular emissions, genesis of the vehicular emissions and the origin and that mechanism. What is the origin and what is that mechanisms which you are including in that vehicular emissions of a genesis? Okay, the vehicular emissions originate primarily from the combustion of fuel in internal combustion engines. The process of fuel combustion is a never perfect, leading to that formation of various pollutants due to the incomplete area or imperfect oxidation fuel components. Shall I read it again? This is somewhat difficult to understand. Mm. Vehicular emissions originate primarily from the combustion of fuel in internal combustion engines. The process of fuel combustion is a never perfect, leading to the formation of a various pollutants due to incomplete or imperfect oxidation of a fuel components. Next, then coming to that next one, origin of a vehicular emissions. The main source of vehicular emissions include first one is the fuel combustions. So that first one is the fuel combustion means in the fuel combustion including mainly 4 points that are nothing but that hydrocarbons from that unburned fuels, and second one is the carbon monoxide from incomplete combustion. The next one is the nitrogen oxide due to the high temperature oxidation of nitrogen, carbon dioxide as a complete combustion product. These are the fuel combustion. These are the primary source of the vehicular pollutions. Then next, coming to the next one, evaporative emissions. The fuel evaporation from fuel tanks and that carburetors that especially in gasoline engines, especially in that gasoline engines. In that gasoline engines, cranes blow by gases, leakage of unburned fuel air mixture into that crankcase and it is a subsequent ventling catalytic converter and that reactions. The catalyst may be produce a secondary pollutants like a nitrous oxide. The catalyst may produce a secondary pollutant like a nitrous oxides. Then coming to the second subheading, the second heading, then nothing but mechanism of vehicular emission formations. That is hydrocarbon emission formation, HC, hydrocarbon emission formation, occurs due to the incomplete combustion of fuel factors, a low temperature zones, and that misfiring, all that evolve quenching. These are the factors which can affecting. Example, reaction CnHm plus O2 gives rise to the incomplete products plus just wait, I'm going to explain this one very clearly. How this reaction can take place? Can you observe here once? Cn Hm plus O2 gives rise where I am incomplete products. Incomplete products. Incomplete products like incomplete products like HCC, NHMO2, NHM plus O underscore 2. This is the one of the best reaction. How that particular incomplete products can enter into our environment. For example, it can react with that CnHm plus O2. It can produce that HCC. What is HCC? It is an incomplete product. NHM, it is also incomplete product, and H underscore 2 is a O underscore 2 is, it is also a incomplete product. This type of incomplete chemical products can enter into our environment for that emission formation. Then what will happen? Emissions will be formed. Hydrocarbon emissions will be formed due to that mm, combustion of fuel. So for each and every motor vehicle, it may be a car or it may be a bike, it may be a scooter, anything, or it may be any vehicle which can be run with the help of the fuel, with the help of a fuel. With the help of the fuel, to the burning of the fuel, by the combustion of the fuel, that reactions were there. For each and every second, the reactions were incomplete. The reactions are that very incomplete reactions will take place. Incomplete products will be produced. It can directly enter into our atmosphere. That are the main causes. That are the main cause of the air pollution and all. So, what are the factors which can support that particular situation? Means here low temperature zones. So in that very low temperature zone, it is a favorable conditions. Misfiring, that wall quenching also a one of the most important factor, and as a favorable condition for that hydrocarbon emissions formation in that atmosphere. Right now, right arrow, incomplete products of HCCN, HM plus O to the incomplete product plus HC. So once again, I want to explain this one with that chemical reactions and all. That is nothing but, wait. HCC N HM plus O2 gives rise incomplete product. Incomplete incomplete product plus it is not clear, but sorry. No, I don't have a space to explain. That's why I'm going writing like this. Um, this is the incomplete reaction which takes place in that fuel combustion in our automobiles. That's why the incomplete products are directly entered into our atmosphere. It can harm the environment at any cost. Okay. These are the reactions which takes place in that carbon emission formations and all. Okay, then coming to the next one, carbon monoxide formation. The first one, in the first one, we are explain about the hydrocarbon emissions, how that hydro emission carbon, hydro emission formations will be takes place. Then coming to that next one, carbon monoxide formation, CO formations. That is nothing. First one is the HC formation. That is the hydrocarbon emission formation, and second one is the carbon monoxide formation, right? Second one is that a carbon monoxide formations. So how this will happen? Let me go through that one. First one is the forms due to the incomplete oxidation of carbon fuel. Incomplete oxidation, incomplete when the particular chemicals cannot react with the sufficient oxygen molecules which are not present in that carbon fuel. That higher in fuel rich mixtures. It is the carbon monoxide formations are the very high in that fuel rich mixers. The example reaction is nothing but C plus 2 1202. What is that 1202? Let's explain. C plus 1202 gives rise COC 1 and 2 reactions O underscore 2, right arrow COC plus the one which is before the 2, it come behind that 2. No, 2102 gives rise CO. This is also a incomplete reaction. That is that incomplete products will be found in that carbon monoxide formations will be happen in that reactions. That's the particular things are directly entered into our atmosphere. That's why these are the very harmful gases which were entered into our atmosphere due to that vehicular combustion and all. Then coming to the third one, that is nothing but that a nitrogen oxide formation, how that particular nitrogen oxides will formation. Till now, we see that how that hydrocarbon emissions are formations, how that carbon monoxide emissions are formation, and in this and now we are going to explain that nitrogen oxide formations. Nitrogen oxide formations now produced at high temperatures above 1600 degrees centigrades in engine. Above the 16 in that particular engine. Example reactions are N2 plus O2 H. I will write it again. Mm. Yes, nitrogen oxide formations. Sorry. Nitrogen oxide formations. These are also one of the most important one produced at high temperatures. Above, when that particular temperature will be increased in that engine is up to 1600 degrees centigrade, the air nitrogen reacts with that oxygen, then can form that a nitrogen oxide formations will takes place. The example reactions are the nitrogen oxides, the N2. N2 plus O2 gives rise to NON underscore 2 plus 0 underscore 2 right arrow to NO2 N2 plus O2 plus 2NO 2NO. So example reactions are that the incomplete formations 2NO, double 2NO2, 2NO2. These are the incomplete products of the nitrogen for nitrogen oxide formations and all. When that engine temperature is above 1600 degrees centigrades, when that air nitrogen can react with the oxygen, the nitrogen oxides will be formed. Then coming to that next one, particulate matter formations. Wait. Particulate Next one is the particulate matter formations. It includes that a soot, ash, and then unburned hydrocarbons will be present in this particular thing. More prominent in diesel engines. So the particulate matter formations are the more common in that are more prominent in that which engines which can be run on that by using that diesels. Okay. The next one, diagrams for the understanding emission process, Genesis vehicular emission origin. Um, Origin of a vehicular emissions. Vehicular emissions originate primarily from that combustion of fuel in internal combustion engines. The process of fuel combustion is a never perfect, leading to the formation of various pollutants due to that incomplete or imperfect oxidation of fuel components and all. Shall I read it once again? Vehicle emissions originate primarily from the combustion of a fuel in internal combustion engines, ICES, internal combustion engines. The process of fuel combustion is a never perfect. Is the process of the combustion is that never perfect. It leading to the formation of a various pollutants due to that incomplete or imperfect oxidation of a fuel and the components and all. Then coming to that next one, the origin of the vehicular emissions. The first one, the main source of the vehicular emissions may include that fuel combustion is a primary sources. First one is that hydrocarbon from unburned fuel. Yes, we saw the reactions. Then carbon monoxide with that incomplete reactions. That carbon monoxide, that hydrocarbon emissions will be takes place from incomplete combustion. Nitrogen oxide due to the high temperature oxidation. When that liquid air or nitrogen can react with the oxidation, can react with the oxygen. This process is called as the oxidation process. Due to the high temperature oxidation of the nitrogen, carbon dioxide as a complete combustion product. Carbon dioxide as a complete combustion product. Evaporative emissions. Fuel evaporation from fuel tanks and then carburetors, especially in the gasoline engines. Gas blow of the gases is that a leakage of a number of fuel or the air mixtures into the crackers and in the subsequent eventing catalytic converting reactions that a catalyst may practice produce a secondary pollutants like nitrous oxide and all. Mechanism of vehicular pollution formations occur in incomplete combustion of the fuel, factors of a low temperature zones and misfiring and that valve quenching. Example of a reaction is these are the CN and HM plus O2 gives rise to the incomplete products plus HCC, NH and M. O plus O2 underscore 2. Right now, a incomplete products will takes place. Carbon monoxide formation forms due to that incomplete oxidation of the carbon in fuel, higher in fuel-rich mixtures. Example reactions are the C plus 12 not 2 gives right the COC plus factor 1 and 2 O underscore 2. A right arrow COC plus 2102 gives rise to the CO. These are the reactions which you are including in that carbon monoxide formations and all. And next one is the nitrogen oxide formations. Nitrogen oxide formations are that produced at high temperatures in that engines when the temperature is about 1600 degrees centigrades. Air nitrogen reacts with that oxygen. The example of the reactions N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO2 underscore 2 plus O underscore 2 right arrow 2NO and 2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. 2NO plus O2 gives rise to 2NO double 2NO plus O2 underscore 2 right arrow 2NO underscore double 2NO plus O2 plus 2NO2. These are the incomplete reaction which even a single name of the chemical is a not completed form. That's why these are the most effective chemicals and most effective emissions to the environment because of this incompleteness and all. These are the points that are very important for your exams. They are theoretical exams. When that nitrogen reacts with the oxygen, these reactions, the incomplete combustion reactions will take place. Okay. The next one is the particulate matter formation. It includes the soot ash and that burned hydrocarbons are more prominent in diesel engines. It is that more prominent in that diesel engines and all. More prominent in diesel engines. These are the diagrams for understanding the emission of the process, combustion chamber emission mechanism. What is that? Combustion chamber emission mechanism. Illustrate the zones of a different temperatures for that incomplete combustion. In that first subheading and second subheading is nothing but a catalyst converter functioning. Catalyst converter Catalyst converting functioning shows conversion of a carbon, hydrogens, and the nitrogens in the less harmful gases. Illustrate that illustration that zones at different temperatures so that incomplete combustion and all takes place. Mm, this is that a diagrammatic representation of that how that particular particulate matter formations will be there in our automobiles. Particulate matter formations. In this particulate matter, the particulate matter is also called as the PM between 2.5 to 10. Very very harmful. Directly affect into our lungs and it causes that respiratory diseases and all. This is about the particulate matter formations. How this particulate matter will be formed. It is a clear-cut diagrammatical representation and all. Um, just a minute. I want to erase this all the dirty things. This is the first one. These are the main 7 points which were present in this diagrammatic representation of particulate matter formations. In that first one's the crude oil, GHG. Okay, greenhouse gases, GHG, and then what are the minerals which can enter into our vehicles? It can be reacted, and when that particular AK vehicles can be run, that combustion will takes place at that engine, and that some impurities will be released. That can like impurities that directly, and the impurities are nothing but the greenhouse gases. Mm, Diesel. What is this arrow mark? Electric vehicles, and electric vehicles. These are the three types of the vehicles. These are the non-electric vehicle. This is a combustion vehicle. What are the combustion vehicles means that particular combustion vehicles, these are the basic models of the vehicles. In that particular combustion vehicles, the fuel will be burned and it can go into the incomplete reactions and produce that incomplete products directly into our environment. That is nothing but that in combustions, combustion vehicles. Then coming to the next one is the electric vehicles. How that electric vehicles can control the greenhouse gases means, there is no possibility of the combustion of the fuels and all that will be charged 1 hour. We will be charged completely your vehicle. It will give the mileage up to 120 kilometers. 120 kilometers. After 120 kilometers only, um, again we are going to charge your vehicle. When in that e-vehicles, the production of the greenhouse gases will be a very low. Production of the greenhouse gases are that a very low, and there is no combustion takes place. There is no incomplete reactions will be takes place in that one. That is the most eco-friendly transportation, and these are the most important and useful products and useful things. Yeah, it is a little bit costly, but it is the most important one, and to reduce the what are the air pollutants which are causing the air pollution and all continuously. Then coming to that next means middle one, that is that it only gives the some amount of emissions, not complete emissions. First one is give the combustion, CO2 will be emitted, and last one is the electric vehicle. So that's why they mentioned that is at a green vehicle. And the third one is the blue vehicle is that a environment friendly eco vehicle. Means the combustions will be up to some level only. Yeah, it is that particular vehicle. When the vehicle will be run in that time also, the vehicle can release that some amount of emissions and all. Uh, but it is not completely affect to our environment. Only up to 20%, 50% it will be affected. That's why in this diagram, we mentioned the colors as a three colors. Last green car is the eco-friendly car. Second one is um, the emissions will be low emitted by the blue car, and next one is the fully totally combustion takes place. It can release the environment pollutants directly into the combustion, the incomplete products. And right, the ACs and the DCs and the refrigerators, chlorofluorocarbons, all can be released with the help of the hydroelectricity and all. This is about the particulate matter formations. Wait, I am going to rub this one. And next one is the combustion chamber emissions. Combustion chamber emissions. This is the how so many important points will be included in this one. Combustion chamber emission mechanism. How that combustion will takes place. How that gases can be emitted. All the things in this diagram clearly explained. Uh, First one. First one is that a catalyzer. This is the first one. This is the second one. Third one. Fourth one. Fifth one. Sixth one. Seventh one. Eighth one. These are the ninth one. These are the nine important things we are going to discuss in this picture representation of combustion chamber emission mechanism. First one is the catalyzer. Second one is the opposed combustion chamber. Third one is the plasmatron or that a burner. Fifth one. Fourth one is the combustion chamber, and fifth one is the plasmatron and the burner. Sixth one is the eye level gauge. Seventh one is the eye level gauge. Eighth one is the air blow under free gates. Ninth one is the air blow under the rotating gates and all. Okay, rotating gates and all. In that first catalyzer means when that what is the catalyzer? Ninth one, and this is the 10th one. So in that first one, catalyzer means what is catalyzer means a particular thing or particular chemical cannot react the cannot directly place the reaction in that particular reactions which will takes place, but due to the presence of this particular thing, the reactions will be takes place very easily and very fast and very accurately. This type of things are called as the catalyzers. At that first level we are going to explain about the catalyzers and all. In that sixth one, post combustion chambers. After the catalyzers will enter, um after the catalyzers will enter, wait. Just wait a minute. So, these are the important things. Combustion chambers and all. Plasmatoron and burners and the combustion chambers, plasmatoron and then bumper and the level gauge. Air blow under that gates and the air blow under the rotating gate. These are the most important diagram to know the complete about that combustion of a chamber and that emission mechanism and all. This is the second one which you are including in that one. And what are that? These are the green color packets which you are running, and that this one is nothing but when that fuel can directly enter into that one. First, it can react with the catalyzers. Then the post combustions will be takes place in this chamber one. After that combustion takes place, for plasma turret or plasma turret burner, the combustion will be takes place. To after before the combustions, um, the piston burner will be takes place in that a level gauge. The total combustion will be completed and the vehicle gets some amount of energy to run efficiently. And what are the incomplete products which will be formed at this level only? That particular level is called as the level gauge and all. After that level gauge formation, the air blow under the gates means these are the air blow gates. Air blow under the rotating gates. These are the undergoing or air blow. The water, the waste and heat and temperature gas can be reached at this level. And this is about the combustion emission mechanism and all. Okay. That next one is the a catalytic converter, and this is the diagrammatical representations of that a catalytic converters and all. Uh, Catalytic converter having then some important parts. First one is the dirty exhauster, first one, and from engine and the clean exhausters, two exhauster, this one catalytic on the top. What is that? Honeycomb structures, and these are the diagrammatical representation of the catalytic converters and all. Then coming to the next one, unit 14. Vehicles. In this unit 14, we are going to discuss in that the basis of what type of the vehicles which will be takes place and what type of the emissions which we are going to add into our environment. Vehicles are classified as a point source of pollutions based on the type of fuel and that emission characteristics. Here, classification of vehicles and contributing and that air pollution and all based on a vehicle type, passenger vehicles, cars, SUVs, and that motorcycles, and commercial vehicle taxis and delivery vans and the buses and heavy duty vehicles, trucks, constructions vehicle, and that agricultural equipment and all. Based on that fuel type, gasoline powered vehicles emit carbon dioxide, mm, nitrogen compounds, and the unburned hydrocarbons. Diesel vehicles emit the high levels of particulate matter and nitrogen compounds. Alternative fuel vehicles means CNG, compressed natural gas, LPG, liquid petroleum gas vehicles, lower emissions compared to the gasoline and the diesel. The electric vehicles, no tailpipe emissions, but may have a upstream emissions from that power generations based on the emission standards and compliance. Um, Euro 1 to Euro 6 as regards the European emission norms, BS, where there are norms and Indian emission standards, EPA type and standard US vehicle and emission regulations and all. Based on emission type, carbon monoxide emitters and incomplete combustion in gasoline, gasolines, nitrogen oxide emitters, diesel and gasoline engines, particulate matter emits at diesel and vehicles, and that volatile organic compounds emits a gasoline evaporation and that combustion and all. Shall I read it once again? Can I explain this one more time? Why? Because this is some reactions will be there that are the very difficult to understand. That's why I'm going to explain it one more time. Mm, that is nothing but um, Unit 13, Agencies of Vehicular Emissions, and that origin of a mechanism. Vehicular emissions originate primarily from that combustion of a fuel in internal combustion engines. The process of fuel combustion is never a perfect, leading to the formation of various pollutants due to that incomplete and imperfect oxidation of the fuel components. The origin of vehicular emissions. The main source of vehicular emissions are included that uh, main source of the included that hydrocarbons from that unburned fuel, carbon monoxide from incomplete combustion, nitrogen oxides, uh, nitrogen oxide due to the high temperature oxidation of a nitrogen and all, carbon dioxide as a complete combustion product, evaporative emissions, fuel evaporation from the fuel tanks and the carburetors, especially in the gasoline engines. Grins blow that by gases leakage of a unburned fuel air mixture into that crackers, and it is a subsequent venting. Catalytic converter reactants. Catalytics may produce the secondary pollutants like a nitrous oxide. Here we noticed one thing: nitrous oxide is a secondary pollutant. Then coming to the next one, the mechanism of a vehicular emission formations. Hydrocarbon emissions. It's occur due to that incomplete combustion of a fuel. The factors: low temperature zones and misfiring, or that a wall quenching. Example reactions are Cn plus Hn plus O2 gives rise to the incomplete products, that is HCC and Hn plus O2. Right arrow incomplete products plus HCCN plus Hn plus O2 gives rise to the incomplete products plus HC and all. Mm. The next one is the carbon monoxide formations. So it forms due to that incomplete oxidation of carbon in fuel, higher in fuel rich mixtures. Example of reaction C plus 1202 gives rise to COC plus factors are 1 CO2 and nitrogen. COC plus 2102 gives rise to the CO, carbon monoxide. This is about the carbon monoxide formations. Nitrogen oxide formations, it produces at high temperatures above 1600 degrees centigrade in that engine. Air nitrogen reacts with that oxygen. Example of the reactions are N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2N. 2NON underscore 2 plus oxygen, right arrow 2N. N2 plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. 2NO plus O2 gives rise to 2NO. 222 NO plus O2, right arrow 2NO plus double 2 NO plus O2, 2NO2. These are the incomplete reactions which takes place in presence of oxygen with the nitrous compounds. This is the main cause of a nitrogen oxide formations uh, and all, right? Wait. Just a minute, please. The next one is that particulate matter formations. Include soot, ash, and that unburned hydrocarbons and all, more prominent in diesel engines and all. Coming to that next one, genesis of vehicular emissions, origin and that mechanisms and all. Already we discussed it very clearly. It is as same as that first one, right? Coming to that few points which will be left here. Diagrams for understanding the emission process, combustion chamber emission mechanism, illustrate zones of a different temperature, different temperatures and the incomplete combustions, a catalytic converter functioning and all, shows the conversion of a carbon monoxide, hydrocarbons, and as well as the nitrogen functions into a gas and harmful gases, illustrate zones and different temperatures and incomplete combustion and all. And this is a diagrammatical representation. In this diagrammatical representation, first we are going to add the crude oil and the minerals. What are the minerals which are present in that crude oil? It can be react and it can be burned. Then it can be give that a total 100% incomplete products to our environment and all. That one is mentioned in that car one. That is the gray colored car. That is the emission of the carbon dioxide and all. Uh, and all. The next one is the blue car. That is the safe. That is the eco-friendly car. That is that eco-friendly. That is that one as the eco-friendly car. It gives only up to 50% of the emissions to our environment and all. And third one is the complete e-vehicles, means there is no greenhouse gases and all. Once you charge this one for 1 hour, it can give the 120 kilometers as a mileage, and it also gives that hydrogen compounds freely to the atmosphere to cool the atmosphere and all. Um, these are about that particulate matter formations. Combustion chamber emission mechanism. This is the second product. In this one, mainly we are having the 10 points. First one is the catalyzer. Catalyzer is cannot be participated in the reaction at any cost. But when that reactants only, it can speed up the reactions uh, and give that good results. But the chemical component not at all participate in that reaction. That type of a chemical products are known as a catalyzers. A post combustion chamber, uh, plasmatron are that a burner, combustion chambers and the plasmatron are the burner. The next one is the level gauge. When that reactions will take place at that level gauge, the total combustion will be completed. Mm. Then the remaining amount of energy is produced. The amount of energy can enter into our atmosphere. Air blow under the fire gates, air blow under the rotating gates, and this is the mm, out of gas duct and all. These are that reactions, and that how that chemicals can burn, how that incomplete reactions will be takes place in that one, that can be easily explained in that combustion uh, chamber emissions mechanism. Next important diagram is a catalytic converter. In this catalytic converter, these are the important labels. That one first one is the from that engine, that the exhaust from that engines, that is the black one mentioned here. First one, second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one. These are the five important subheadings which are present in a catalytic converter. When that from engine, the dirty gas and that incomplete uh, that incomplete reactions combustions can enter into a catalytic converter directly exhausted from engine, that is I mentioned with the black color. What are that catalytic on the honeycomb structures is there now, that are the catalytes. Catalytes cannot directly participate in the reactions, but it will give speed up that reaction. After that, the dirty exhaust can pass through that honeycomb structures, then it will be clean up and a clean exhausted will be exhausted from the other side of this one. This is about the catalytic converter. Um, Next one is the Unit 14. Vehicles are classified as a point sources of air pollution based on their type, fuel, and the emission characteristics. Here, as a classification of vehicle contributing of the air pollution based on vehicle type, the passenger vehicles, cars, SUVs, and the motor vehicles. Then next one is the commercial vehicles, that are the taxis and delivery vans and the buses and all. Coming to the next one is the heavy duty vehicles, trucks, construction vehicles, and that agricultural equipments. And these are under the based on your vehicular types, based on a fuel type. First one is the based on a vehicular type, and second one is the based on that fuel types. Gasoline powered vehicles emit carbon compounds, nitrogen compounds, and the unburned hydrocarbons. Diesel vehicles emit the high level of particulate matter and the nitrogen compounds and all. Alternative fuel vehicles, compressed natural gas, LPG vehicles, lower emissions compared to the gasoline and the diesel. Electric vehicles, no tailpipe emissions, but may have the upstream emissions from the power generations and all. Then next one is the based on the emissions standard, emission standard compliance, Euro 1 to Euro 6 strict evaporation emission norms, Bharat stage norms and Indian emission standards and European and US vehicle emission regulations and all. Based on a emission type, carbon monoxide emitters, incomplete combustion already we discussed in that previous unit, just 10 minutes before. That is the incomplete reactions will be there in that one, and not only in that carbon monoxide emitters, in that nitrogen oxide emitters and that particulate matter emitters, and that both of this one as a diesel and gasoline engines. Particulate matter is only based on the gasoline vehicles. Volatile organic compounds, gasoline evaporation, and that combustion will be takes place. These are the four types which are including in this unit 4. Mm, as a vehicle as a point source of pollution. First one is the based on vehicle type and based on a fuel type, based on a emission standard compliance, and based on a emission type. So these are the four types which are included. Uh, just a minute. Air pollution from the automobiles. Air pollution from the automobiles is the most major environmental concern, primarily due to the emission of a harmful pollutants from the vehicle exhaust. Here are some key aspects are there. Major pollutants from automobiles. Carbon monoxide is a colorless and the odorless gas that uh, reduces the blood ability to carry the oxygen. Nitrogen oxides contribute to smog, acid rain, and the respiratory problems. Particulate matter are tiny particles that can penetrate deeply into the lungs and that causes that health issues and all. Um, Volatile organic compounds reacted with the NOx to form the ground level ozone formations and all. um, Ground level ozone formations and all. Source. Exhaust emissions from fuel combustions, evaporative emissions, tire and that brake wear and produces a fine particulate matter and all. This is all about the today's class. Thank you all. Signing off. This is Dr. Kavita Yadav Kanchikatla. Thank you one and all.